Hello and blessings. We are in the Foundations of Faith course. Lesson number 3. The only way to truly bring together and unite the world as one is by coming together, united as a single global community. What have we learned so far in the course? So we learned that faith is a worldview, a perspective on life, according to which a person conducts his life. Therefore, we learned that we must not leave faith unexamined without clarifying precisely what the correct faith is, so that we can truly lead our lives in the right way and not discover after decades of running that we were driving on the wrong road and ended up in the wrong direction. Therefore, we learned that we must not accept or go along with the saying, each person shall live by his own faith, because it essentially says it doesn't matter what you believe, it doesn't matter where you're headed, everything is fine. That's terrible and awful. It is extremely important what we believe in and where we are heading, progressing, and traveling in our lives. We also learned that in order for our faith to truly guide our lives and not the other way around, we need to consciously bring the Holy One, blessed be He, into our lives. We saw some practical tips on how we can bring Hashem into our daily lives, to live with an awareness of the faith in the King, to turn to Him, to thank Him, to ask Him questions, to try to listen to what is around us, because He also brings us the word of the Creator of the world through these things. In this unit, we want to learn. So what we want to clarify here is that the common denominator, the universal principle, is only the recognition of the Creator of the world and His leadership. Humanity will never be able to unite around any value or idea that people have invented and developed, whether it be communism, socialism, liberalism, anarchism, conservatism, or any other human concept. Any human idea, we will learn why it cannot bring the world to unity, to peace, to tranquility, to its correction. There is only one way, and that is what we want to study. And I would like to give you an analogy or explanation, let's call it a mathematical one. So in mathematics, if I want to add a series of numbers that are fractions, yes, with a numerator and a denominator, how do I add them? For example, I want to add 1/5 and 1/4, 1/5 plus 1/4. What do? We create a common denominator. It needs to be a number that is divisible by the denominators of both numbers we want to add. That means it is divisible by both 5 and 4, and it can serve as a common denominator. In the example we took, if we multiply 4 by 5, we get 20, which is a common denominator because it is divisible by both 4 and 5. And so if I want to add a quarter and a fifth, I am actually adding 4/20 plus 5/20. Together, I get 9/20. That's the answer to the exercise, right? That's simple math. If I have a longer sequence, the more numbers I have to add in this sequence n numbers with different values, I will need to increase the common denominator so that it is the product of all the numbers I have, the ones I need to add. If I want to add millions of numbers, for example, I need a very large common denominator. What can I know about this very large common denominator? It will certainly be at least as large as the largest denominator among any of these numbers. In most cases, it will be much larger than even the biggest denominator among the numbers. But at the very least, it can be less than that, smaller than it, because otherwise it wouldn't be divisible by it. This is an analogy. What is the lesson we want to understand from it? So what is our moral here? The moral, of course, is that we want to bring all of humanity to unity, to connection. By the way, I want to believe that all of us here want this, right? We all want humanity to come together, to live in love, in brotherhood, in peace. So the common denominator among people is faith, because as we said, faith is values. It's a set of worldviews by which people conduct their lives. So the common denominator in our moral is faith. So in order to unite humanity, to unite the world, we need a kind of faith, a worldview that everyone is willing to sit together upon, that everyone is willing to participate in. A simple example from our own lives. So a young couple wants to get married. What do they check between them besides the fact that they like each other and so on? They want to check that they have common ground. They want to check that the things that are important to them in life, that same faith we're talking about, are more or less similar so that they can live together. So this is true for a couple who wants to get married, and of course it's true for the whole world. We want to connect the world. We needed to have a belief that is willing to partner with, willing to rise above, to get along with, above all in faith. So that was the analogy for the example of adding fractions in mathematics. An explanation, a slightly different perspective also connects to this. For example, Archimedes. There is a very famous saying by Archimedes. He said, "Give me a level long enough and a fulcrum on which to place it, and I will move the world." That's how he expressed it. It's interesting that he spoke about moving the world, meaning to lift the world. What does this parable want to tell us? If I am looking for an Archimedean point with which I can lift the world, I need the fulcrum to be far from the earth. Only with it can I lift the earth. I can't take a point from within the earth and use it to lift the earth. Right? So, well, up to this point, we've seen two parables from two different directions, both connecting to the idea that uniting the world must be done with something that is beyond, that is outside each individual's private circle. So our point is that only the divine idea can unite humanity. That's our topic. If we accept the fact that there is no person in the world who is perfect, right? Do you agree? No one in the world is perfect. Everyone has their own flaws, one way or another, right? Therefore, any set of beliefs that someone in the world develops, any worldview whatsoever, will inevitably have its own flaws. And therefore, all the religions invented by humans must necessarily have flaws, because those who invented them are human beings. And humans have flaws, there's simply no other possibility. Even today we talk about religion. Today, people talk about all kinds of different ideologies in the world, like communism, socialism, capitalism, liberalism, and so on and so forth. What are all these things? They are also a kind of religion, meaning they are a type of worldview that someone developed or a group of people developed, claiming that this is the right and proper way. Now, today we already know the damages, the mistakes, and the losses that have resulted from this system. We understand that there is always a flaw in every human value system that a person will formulate or think about. That's why people disagree with them. And that's why no one has managed to convince the whole world to follow their way. Well, but how do we even know that such a point exists? Okay, we've explained, we've just learned that human ideas are not absolute. They're always lacking, and they cause a lot of harm, as we know. We know how much harm came from communism, how many people disappeared without anyone knowing who they were, what they were, how this so-called equality is not really equal. We also see the harm, the damages in the world that I won't list them all now. Everyone knows all these movements. Each one of them, you can easily find its shortcomings. But maybe there isn't anything else at all. Who says there's even a way to unite the whole world? So here I'm offering a few directions for reflection. It could also be that on another occasion we'll do a more in-depth lesson on this to look into it more deeply. The first point is that the very engagement with this question, the very search for common ground, the very longing, our desire to unite the world, to bring peace to the world, indicates that such a point exists. Because we don't occupy ourselves with imagine or think about things for which we have no conception. Therefore, if such a possibility did not exist, if there were no common ground to unite the world, people would not be searching for it. So we learn from the very demand, the desire, the engagement with the subject, that this in itself already shows that it exists. Second point, people in general feel, all of us, I think you'll agree with me, feel that there is truth, there is absolute justice, such a thing exists. We can argue about what it is, but we feel it. We can argue about it because we sense something of it. We have some point of connection to absolute truth and justice within our soul, within our spirit. That's why we feel it inside. So we don't need to discuss something only external or theoretical. We know it exists. We're just arguing about what it is. Third point, the recognition that there is order in the world, that there is an organizing force in the world, that the world is not random. All of us, I think, can see this in the world, that there is order in this world. In its very existence, there's order. Without this order, the world wouldn't be able to exist for even a moment. But also to watch over us in the details of life, in the circumstances of life. So many coincidences in our lives show us that there is order in the world. How can there be order if there isn't a single organizing force? So if there is a single organizing force, this organizing force wants the world to be orderly. He wants us to be partners in this order. And the last point I want to raise here is there is a nation in the world that merited a revelation from the creator of the world. In this revelation, they were exposed to the creator, to the creator's Torah, and to the creator's expectations of us, of human beings. So when we talk about a way to fix the world, it's not just talk about something theoretical or about gut feelings. There is an organized plan, there is something clear here. An entire nation that knows him, that received him, that stood at Mount Sinai and received the Torah. So that's why this nation testifies that this nation received a mission to teach the world the foundations of faith, the right way to bring the world to its rectification. In fact, that's what we're doing here. Both in this course of mine, which I have carefully designed to provide a comprehensive and accessible learning experience for anyone interested in deepening their understanding of the subject, and more broadly in general on this channel, you will find a wide variety of educational materials and resources. These include in-depth lectures, insightful discussions, and practical guidance, all of which are presented through the expertise and wisdom of experienced rabbis and knowledgeable lecturers. The content is curated to ensure that viewers of all backgrounds, whether beginners or those with more advanced knowledge, can benefit from the teachings and gain valuable insight. By participating in this course and exploring the broader offerings on the channel, you will have the opportunity to learn from respected authorities in the field, engage with thought-provoking ideas, and enhance your appreciation for the subject matter through the perspectives shared by rabbis and lecturers. I will be happy to receive feedback, comments, or questions from anyone who has them. I will do my best to respond and answer, either through the channel or via the email address listed here. Blessings to you all.